Hello, this is the Watchdog, and welcome back to Fun with Watches. If watches weren't fun, you'd only need one. Today we're going to review the Pagani Design PD1645 homage to a Rolex Datejust. Let's start with the wrist check. I'm wearing this Corjo 2010 homage to a Tudor Black Bay, and Grogo's wearing my Benvidia BD1003. Grogu said that Han Solo read the novel Dune and decided that the Butlerian Jihad was a good idea, so he bought a briefcase full of spice from the Pike so he could throw away his nav computer and turn Chewbacca into a guild navigator. Princess Leia said, "You dumb nerf herder, the spice they mine on Kessel is completely different from the spice they mine on Arrakis. It's the same nickname for two totally different substances. All that spice is going to do to Chewbacca is make him high as a kite." Han Solo said, "It must be working. He predicted you would say that." All right, let's take a look at the watch. It comes in this typical Pagani Design snapper box. And we have the cleaning cloth. And it did come with a tiny screwdriver, but this screwdriver isn't tiny enough for the tiny screws on this thing. So I wouldn't try to use it. And then I think you'll scratch up your bracelet. And here's the watch. Isn't that a nice looking watch? I really like this one. I've always looked at the Rolex Datejust as kind of a ho-hum Rolex, and it was completely off of my radar, so I haven't really reviewed that many of the homages, and never from one of the better brands except for that palm leaf Parnas. So I kind of avoided this Pagani Design, but when I saw it for a very reasonable price, I went ahead and pulled the trigger, and all I can say is wow. I have no regrets. I've totally enjoyed wearing this watch, and I think it is a great value for the money. The Rolex Datejust is the first watch to ever have a date complication, and thus its date is what makes it special. Nowadays, this presents kind of a conundrum for Rolex, since having a date is no longer special, but you have a lineup that specializes in dates, which is probably why there is no date on a base Oyster Perpetual, because how would they be any different than a Datejust? No dates on the Explorer, Air King, or Milgauss, because that is reserved for the Datejust. They do make a 34mm Oyster Perpetual date without the just, which avoids confusion because there is no 34mm Datejust. Is that clear? The Rolex Datejust comes with either Oyster or Jubilee bracelet and smooth or fluted bezel. This Pagani Design limits you to the fluted bezel and the 5-link bracelet, which is probably a wise decision on their part because who would want the other? If you don't want this blue, there's also black or white dials. There are also two-tone versions with a black or gold dial. The watch is 40.5mm at the bezel, 49.8mm lug to lug with protruding end links. It's 11.6mm thick. Any automatic watch under 12 is doing pretty good. Has a 20mm lug width and weighs 134 grams on the supplied bracelet with 4 links removed. The bezel is fluted, and Pagani Design does not give you a smooth bezel option like Rolex does. And then we have the dial. The dial has a nice sunburst effect. And then we have the Pagani Design name and logo up top. And then it says automatic 24 joules on the bottom. So that means it has to have an NH35. They can't sneak a Miyota in it because a Miyota only has 21 joules. And then we have the applied baton indices, and they're all loomed. And then we have the loomed stick hands, and the second hand is not loomed. And then we have the date with the Cyclops, and the Cyclops is very good. As you can see, if the date fills up just about the whole Cyclops, so it does a pretty good job of magnifying. So I always say, if you're going to have a Cyclops, and this is a proper Cyclops. And then we have a signed screw-down crown. It unscrews nicely. You don't feel a lot of thread resistance. Pops nicely. And when you go to screw it back down, it catches right away. And no resistance that way either. So I really like the crown. And then we have a sapphire crystal. It's flat. And I don't know if they have AR coating or not, but you can see through it pretty good. So they might have something. And then we have the solid steel case. It's polished tops and sides, but brushed on the bottoms. So if it was polished on the bottoms, I'd be a little suspicious, but no, it's solid steel. Then we have a screw down display case back. Then it has Pagani Design, water resistant, 100 meters stainless steel. So yes, you get 100 meters, which is plenty for a watch like this. This is not a dive style watch, so you don't need 200. So you should be able to swim with this just fine. 100 meters, once again, is plenty. And you do have a screw down crown, so you don't have to worry about accidentally popping the crown when you're in the water. Underneath the case back is the NH35 movement. This is the go-to movement for automatic watches in this price range. It's a 24 jewel movement that hand winds hacks and has a bidirectional rotor, and it has 24 jewels. And once again, they can't sneak a Miyota in on you because it says 24 jewels on the dial. So these are usually fairly accurate right off the shelf, but let's go ahead and put it on the Timegrapher anyway, because I spent a lot of money on this Timegrapher and I'd hate to waste it. Here it is on the Timegrapher. As you can see, it's running fairly accurate. +3, +5, +1. So yeah, that's some pretty good timing right there. Unfortunately though, there's quite a bit of beat error, 0.8 milliseconds. So that's why you see 2 lines on the screen. And the amplitude's kind of low, but this is an NH35, and I'm pretty sure they don't regulate them at the factory when they put these Pagani designs together, so I'm pretty sure you're just going to get what you get and don't throw a fit. And so it's kind of random as how yours is going to do. But look at that now it's running at 0. So yeah, it's doing good. The bracelet is a 5-link. I can't use the J word when referring to the Pagani design. I can say Jubilee when I refer to the Rolex, but I can't say that when I refer to the Pagani design, so just say it's a 5-link. It has solid end links, and the bracelet's nice. This flex here, that's typical of this design of bracelet, so that's not unusual. And we do have screw pins, and look at the heads though, they're really, really small. So once again, I think the screwdriver that comes with it is too big for this. So I had to use another screwdriver that was much smaller. And then we have the clasp. If it's not a Rolex homage, I complain about this clasp, but I'm perfectly fine with it for a Rolex homage because it looks like the Rolex clasp. My biggest complaint about this is it's really hard to use the micro adjust just because there's no holes on the side, so you have to get a tool out, and it's just kind of awkward. But it does have what it extends here, so if it's a little tight on you, you can always extend it when your wrist swells. But it only goes out, not in. But yeah, it's a nice bracelet. I really like it. Here's the watch on my 7.5-inch wrist. I think that looks nice. Once again, it's very comfortable. That bracelet just contours to your wrist because the links are so small, and it just looks great. I've really enjoyed wearing this watch, and I'm going to be sad to sell it, but I have too many watches right now, so there's no way I can keep it. But yeah, look at that wrist roll. Really sharp looking watch. Here we are in the Lume room. Every once in a while, Pagani Design surprises me with decent Lume, so let's see if this is the case. As we speed up the time, we see that it is indeed not the case. The indices aren't bad and doing quite well, but unfortunately, like a lot of Pagani Design watches, the hand Lume is significantly weaker and just about gone already. Does no good to see the indices if you can't see the hands. What do I like about this watch? Well, I really like the looks. It looks great. I like the wearability, very comfortable. And I like the fact that it has a fully magnified Cyclops. A lot of these homage watches have a cyclops that barely magnifies at all, so it's nice to see it do a good job, especially when it's the date is one of the key features of it. What are my grapes and groans? Lousy hand loom. It has protruding end links. It'd be nice if they were inverted. So this is a fairly big case, so it'd be nice if it was inverted so it would wear a little bit smaller. And also, this is just a general complaint on Pagani Design in general. I wish they would use custom rotors on their NH35s if they have a display case. They do on their Chinese-made movements, but not the NH35s or the Miota 8215s. Do I recommend this watch? Yes, this watch is great. Solid steel sports watch that can be worn as a dress watch. It looks great, is very comfortable, and has an NH35 movement, so what else could you ask for? Well, better hand loom, but other than that, what else could you ask for? Well, thank you for watching my review of the Pagani Design PD1645, homage to the Rolex Datejust, and I will be back with another review. Be sure and like and subscribe to my channel. Bye.